Hello, hello, and welcome. I am so glad you are here today. Whether you're listening at home, at work, or on the go, I am always so thankful that you are choosing to spend a few minutes of your time with me. So welcome to May. I absolutely can't believe we are already in the fifth month of the year. It's May. There's so much that happens. We've got Mother's Day. We've got different graduations, kindergarten, high school, college. Some do fourth, fifth grade graduation ceremonies. It's packed with different things. Memorial Day coming up at the end of the month. And did you know that since 1949 that May is also Mental Health Awareness Month? I knew it was that month, but I had no idea that we had been recognizing it as that for so long. So as I was thinking about what to talk with you today about, it really led me on that journey down the mental health path. And I just wanted to share some different tips and tricks that I ran across that could help you. So it could be a difficult month, right? There, with all the activities, with all the different events, very emotional, but also specifically around Mother's Day, that people really struggle at this time of the year when you don't have your mother or you don't have that motherly figure in your life anymore, or maybe you recently lost someone. And that day is just a reminder of that. So not every day is going to be sunshine and rainbows. We've talked about that before. And May, as happy as it can be, as exciting as it can be with all the different events and what the future might hold, it can also be very difficult to manage and get through some of those times. So I found this article, and it's part of the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. And they posted a blog on mental health and some tips and tricks. And basically the gist is it's okay to not be okay. And I've said this for many, many years to my friends, my family, my coworkers. People have heard me say it. And the more we naturalize that conversation and the more we can talk about it, it makes it more normal and okay to talk about it. And my ask is always, if you're struggling with anything, find a way to reach out, find a resource that you can get some help, because it is okay to not be okay, and everyone is not okay. At some point, everyone has things to work through and struggle with. And so I wanted to read this article because I had a lot of really interesting facts about it, as well as some tips and tricks on what we can do. So it was posted, let's see, just a few days ago on May 1st, and it's titled, "It's Okay to Not Be Okay." So it's May, just checking in. How is everybody doing? In case you missed it, Sesame Street's Elmo posted this very question on social media earlier in the year, and the responses came flooding in. From relationship problems to financial troubles and feelings of exhaustion, angst, loneliness, and even disconnection, people shared their struggles. And at the last count, Elmo's post had garnered more than 217 million views, 15,000 reposts, 165,000 likes, and 45,000 responses on just one social media platform. And what it helped reveal is that many of us are not okay. But it's important to acknowledge and address that to make sure that people know that help is available. And so this particular organization, its acronym is SAMHSA. Again, it's the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. They offer all sorts of resources and support outlets and different tools, toolkits that you can use to help yourself or to recommend to someone that you know is struggling. So then it goes into a lot of different background data around who does mental health affect. And really, it can affect anyone. It doesn't matter your gender, your age, your race, your ethnicity, or your income level. It's just important to know that when your mental health is impacted, whether positively or negatively, that also has the same impact on your physical health and your emotional health. And so we know if we're not okay ourselves, if we're just struggling to get through every day, how in the world are we able to be encouraging and help others to get through their days, especially if you are any kind of caretaker to children or maybe elderly parents or family members? We have to be okay ourselves to be able to be in a good mental state to then help others and take care of others. Or if you have a job, you've got to be in a good mental state to focus and to do your job. So it's very, very important understanding that mental health has such a round or a full round effect on our total being. And so this goes on to say, that the nation is facing an unprecedented mental health crisis among people of all ages and backgrounds, including young children and older adults. And to put that into perspective, if you were standing in a room full of people, at least 1 out of every 5 have likely experienced anxiety, depression, or a different mental health condition just in the last year. That's 1 out of 5. So that's a lot. But the good news is the conditions are treatable and there are a lot of resources available. So this goes on to talking about the resources that this particular organization offers, but it also gives some really good tips around when you're talking with someone and they bring up a concern around their mental health, how you position that, how you talk about it, the language you use really matters. So it's very important that you don't label someone as bipolar or as a schizophrenic. You use the person's name and you describe it's a condition that they are living with. So it's, oh, John, yeah, this goes on to say, John is a person who has schizophrenia instead of saying John is schizophrenic or John is suffering from a mental illness. You say John is experiencing or living with a mental illness. So the illness doesn't define the person. The person is the person. And there are conditions that they're dealing with and struggling with. And that's the language that you use. So it's very important that you know how to address it when you are addressing it. And this talks about how you can take action to work through things. We've talked about some of these before, but it's so great to see this in another article to just reinforce the message that we've talked about before. Some of this is talking about just adopting that positive mental health habit. And by the way, this looks different for every person. So what I might do for myself is not going to be the same as what you need to do or what someone else in your circle needs to do for them. And so it could be eating a balanced diet, getting enough sleep, exercising, or just offering support. Maybe for others, it's just joining a support group and finding those resources and working through it with different podcasts or blogs or news articles or social media, whatever it might be. Everyone has a little bit, something different that helps them work through it. So some tips here that it talks about is practice gratitude. You have heard me talk about this a lot. But yeah, think about what you're thankful for, your friends, your family, a safe home, a transportation, that you have food, or even the beautiful day. I've talked about that. In the mornings, if you have sun shining in your eyes and you want to say, oh my gosh, that sun is so annoying. It's so bright. It's blinding me. My goodness. Aren't you thankful, number one, that you woke up that day, that you can see the sunshine and you have that day? And number two, that you have eyesight. So again, you can drive, you can see it. Like not everyone has that. So it's can be something so small, but count your blessings and realize what you are surrounded with that you can be grateful for every day. This also says another tip is to volunteer, participate in community organizations, or find opportunities that will help provide a positive boost, give you a sense of purpose. Know that when you do something, it's impacting someone else in a good way. We've also talked about that before, of just offering a smile to someone that you see at work, at the store, just passing on a sidewalk. You just never know what someone's going through. So you being kind and friendly and providing a little bit of a light could literally change that person's life. The third thing here it says is to engage in random acts of kindness. Buy a cup of coffee for the person in line behind you. Hold the door open for a stranger. Make food for a neighbor or a colleague. Any little thing that shows someone you noticed them and that you want to do something kind. That's a very good way to boost your own mental health, but also others. Another tip here is practice mindfulness. So take a few minutes to meditate, take a yoga class, breathing exercises, anything you can do to take a step out of a stressful time or just at the end of the day or maybe the beginning of the day as you do some self-reflection on what you want to accomplish that day. Think about what that looks like. What are the goals? Or at the end of the day, what did your day look like? Where did you have some good spots? Where did you not have some good spots? What would you like to do different and how can you change it? And it's just being in the moment and recognizing that not everything goes our way, but we do control what our reaction is to those situations. So what are we doing that's putting ourselves in a positive light to choose the best reaction? And then the last tip here, it's talking about just seeking help. Whether it's for yourself or someone else, there are a lot of resources available. And this organization definitely has good resources and tools, but just encourage you to definitely have conversations. Don't be afraid to speak up, to talk to someone, to say, hey, things aren't going so great for me, for whoever it might be that you know of, or ask someone, do you want to talk about it if you notice they've been a little down? But again, it's okay to not be okay, and we need to get normalized with asking for help. So one other thing too, well, actually a couple of things. Speaking of being mindful and taking our breathing exercises, I did come across a breathing technique that I wanted to share. And it's all about like, box breathing and how do you just set yourself right, get back in that moment. And it's like the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And it's like looking around and recognizing 5 things that are surrounding you in the moment that you're thankful for. And again, it can be something so simple. And then you just count yourself backwards. 5 things you're thankful for, 4 things that you can actually touch and feel that you're thankful for, 3 things that you want to promote as like positivity in your life, 2 people that you potentially could reach out to and help. And then, of course, 1 person coming back to yourself. What is it that you need that you can think about it and that would make you happier? And so it's just breathing in and out and counting down the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 with every deep breath in and out. And then if you have a journal, which you've heard me also talk about, record that in your journal and use that as part of your self-reflection time to go back to think about, did I really do that? What else needs to happen to help with my mental health and to help me, take control? And then the one other thing I wanted to share before we drop off, I was listening to the Message channel on Sirius XM. That's one of my favorite channels right now, but this song came on and it talked about exactly what I knew I wanted to talk to you about today. And it's how we're all made in the image of God. And no matter what you're struggling with, he is there. He will get us through, and we need to be leaning on him and that he is the light in our darkness. And that is the theme of our year, is how do we be a light to others? So how do we take what we know is true with our Father and what he's guiding us to do, and how do we reflect that? So I'm going to read the lyrics of this song, and then we'll wrap things up. So again, this is called Image of God by We Are Messengers is the group. So you can look this up too. And the lyrics say, I woke up with a broken heart in my chest. I couldn't sleep, couldn't get no rest. Weighed down by the heaviness of life, and I try to shake it, flipping through my phone, but all it does is make me feel more alone. How could anything that feels so wrong be right? 7 billion voices separate us, but only one can show us who we are. We are made in the image of God, beautiful shades of love. We are made in the image of God. That's where the light comes from. We all need the same medicine. We all need another second chance. There's no first in line at the foot of the cross. Father, forgive me. Show my concrete heart. We are made in the image of God, beautiful shades of love, made in the image of God. That's where the light comes from. We fall apart. We all lose sight of heaven, but still your love is chasing us. And oh, give me a heart for every heart that's breaking, and give me eyes to see we're so much more than flesh and blood. We are made in the image of God, beautiful shades of love. We are made in the image of God. That's where the light comes from. So I hope that hit you like it hit me. It's such a great reminder that no matter what we're facing, God is there for us. He definitely is wanting us to lean on him, to use his word, to praise him, to seek his advice and his guidance. He definitely will not lead us astray. And one of my friends posted, let's see, it was on Facebook, and her name is Lisa Turkhurst. And so I'm going to read you real quick what she says. Are you in the devastatingly dark middle of an unchosen journey, one that leaves you tempted to pull away from the Lord because, quote unquote, how could a good God lead me to such a difficult place? Oh, friend, I understand. But here's one thing I know about our good shepherd. While he may lead us into valleys we would rather avoid, he will never lead us carelessly. We see this truth when we dig a little deeper into the familiar beginning of Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. We may imagine lush green hills like you find in Ireland, but David's reality was the steep, rocky, dry Judean hills. Hills that had to be carefully traveled in order to get to the water and vegetation waiting in the valleys below. Shepherds leading their flocks also have to be cautious about the timing of their trips. Hard rains can quickly lead to flash floods in a gorge. When a shepherd knew a storm was coming, he wouldn't allow the sheep to be down in the gorge because they would drown. The shepherd patiently waited until the storm passed before leading his flock down to drink. So not only did sheep have to trust where the shepherd was leading them, they had to trust the when of the leading. Our shepherd wants us to get to the still waters. He wants us to lie down and rest where it's safe, but we have to trust that his timing is perfect and his provision is good. Even when our heart is hurting, even when we don't understand what he's doing, we can choose to trust his love for us. We can choose to follow Jesus, the shepherd who laid down his life for all of his sheep. So that's what I want to leave you with today is have that trust, seek him, turn to him, turn your worries and your anxiety over to him. They're not all your burdens to carry. So as we are in the month of May and thinking about all of the mental health that we are facing, that our friends could be facing, and all the different events happening, we have ways to help ourselves and help others. So I wanted to share that with you today, just to remind you, God is good and all the time God is good. So keep that in mind. Use your resources, use your network. It's okay to not be okay, and I hope you are okay talking about it to someone to get the help that you need, because 1 out of 5 people, that's a lot of people going through things. And if that's you, I pray that you can find someone who can help you through it, and that you're willing to talk to someone to work through it. So I will leave you with that for today and wish you a very blessed May and a very wonderful kickoff to our summer, and I will see you back in June. Until then, take care and may God bless.